So I would like to welcome everybody to this meeting of the Policy Subcommittee of the Hamden-Wilbraham Regional School Committee. It's December 16th at 4:30. I'll start with a call to order. Mike Terabasi. Mike, can you say you're present?
Yes, I'm present.
Okay. Michelle Boudreau.
Here.
Tim Collins.
Present.
Okay. Aaron, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I will. I pledge
Pledge
allegiance
allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, our first order of business is reorganization, so I'll open the floor for nominations for chair of the subcommittee.
I nominate Mike.
Second.
Okay. Mike, do you want to nominate anyone, or are you good with that?
I'm fine with that. I'd be happy to serve for another year.
Okay, so I will do the vote by roll call. This is for Mike Terabasi as chair of the subcommittee. So I'll start with Mike Terabasi.
Yes?
Michelle Boudreau.
Yes.
Tim Collins.
Yes.
Okay. So Michael, it's over to you. Do you want to delegate facilitating until you get here to somebody?
Yes. John, would you mind facilitating until I get there? I'll be there in just a couple minutes.
Okay, no problem. All right, so bringing everybody back to my original email on this group of policies, if anyone remembers what that, when that was. This all has to do with changes to Title IX regulations, which were promulgated by the Biden administration and became effective in August. So we've been following the adjustments because they're already enshrined in federal law. But these policy changes are just to bring it up to speed. I will share, it's been my experience since I've been doing policy that Title IX is something that seems to be dealt with in the last days of any administration's time in office. So we got Title IX regulations in the closing days of the Obama administration, and then in the closing days of the Trump administration, and now in the closing days of the Biden administration. So likely 4 years from now we may be doing this again. But that's where all this comes. And I did mention that this is a very technical area of law. If you look at the actual statute of Title IX, it's about one sentence long, but the regulations that have been built around it over the years are now over 1,500 pages. So you'll see that in some cases, I've given you two versions of policy because your own attorney for student affairs, Katie Meinalt, doesn't agree with the MASC attorney on how the policy should be written to conform to the changes in federal regulations. So I'll point those out when we get to them. The first one is policy AC. Changes, and for those of you who are new to the subcommittee, in the top of each policy, I basically give a little narrative description of what the changes are. So it's the list of protected classes and the source that have been updated to reflect changes in the regulations that became effective. A verb is changed for parallelism. And then I also made some grammatical recommendations. Well, it looks like that didn't come out on here, so let me just try to find what my grammatical things are that I can't do around there. Mike's on that.
Yeah, I didn't notice I didn't notice any grammatical changes when I looked at it.
It looks like the parenthetical notes I had didn't come through. So
Here, if you want to see this, John? It'll be on my drive. I thought that's what we saw.
do you have the original Word document?
Not on this, because this is, oh yeah, this is mine. I was thinking I had to one.
It was something small, I don't remember what it was.
It was small, but, let's see.
I might be able to see it without losing Mike. Should say section A, something like that.
I put it, yeah, but I think I put it under the, policy, like I usually group it here in the policy sub, in the folder, so I'm
Mhm.
hoping that's where I put the, this is the Word doc.
Okay, good. So that has notes inside. Oh,
Oh,
there we go. So what did I say in this? Okay, so in the model policy, after the first sentence, it says, "The Hampden Regional School Committee and public schools are committed to maintaining an education and work environment for all school community members," period. I don't believe that period should be there. So my recommendation would be to get rid of that. And then the other one I had is that says this is the first sentence in the second paragraph. "The district does not exclude from participation, deny the benefits of the Hampden-Wilbraham Regional Schools from or otherwise discriminate against individuals." I don't know why that "from" is there, but I think it's clearer without the "from." So I left those so you could see what MASC is recommending, but I'm recommending we should get rid of those two things unless anyone knows of a reason why they should be there.
I certainly don't. I'm fine with getting rid of them.
And then for the rest of the policy, you'll see that yellow represents new language, strike through represents existing language that is recommended to be getting rid of. So the title has an addition made to it. Sex stereotypes and sex characteristics are added to the list of protected classes. And then in number 3, they changed the verb form from the infinitive to the gerund, I believe, to enlist to enlisting. And then the only other change on this is updating the source from MASC August 2022 to MASC 2024, August 2024.
I have no problem with any of those changes. Tim, Michelle, what do you guys think?
Fine.
Me as well.
Would you like a motion, Mike?
If they don't have any objections, I would love to hear a motion to accept the changes to that policy with your edits.
So move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
You actually have to do roll call because
Okay.
you're remote.
Yep.
Sorry.
No, all right. Roll call vote for those in favor. Myself, yes. Michelle?
Yes.
All right. Tim?
Tim.
Yes.
Okay. So that brings us to AC-R. You'll see there's the same change to the list of protected classes. The definition of sexual harassment is deleted, and instead it's incorporated by reference to policy ACAB. The definition of retaliation is narrowed. The source of disability-based discrimination is removed, and 2 new policy references are added. So the 2 policy references that are added are policies that don't currently exist, but they will exist if you accept other policies that are in this batch. So just going through that, in the definitions, you see sex stereotypes and sex characteristics. That's the same language as the policy you just approved. Okay, and then on the next page, second page of the policy, Title IX sexual harassment used to have a whole section that defined what it was. But in this version, it just says that sex-based harassment is specifically addressed in policy ACAB, which is one of the other policies. So basically, they pulled out the definition from this policy and created a different policy to define what sexual harassment is. And then,
Very long ones.
yes. And then retaliation was, the language for that was changed. In my, oops, lost Michael.
He's here.
Okay.
Yeah, keep going.
In my opinion, I think the language here is more descriptive, so it is slightly narrowing the universe of activities that could be considered retaliation. If you look at all that's being removed and then the new language that's being put in there, basically saying that under this policy, retaliation means retaliation under the auspices of a Title IX protected activity.
Do you foresee a problem from that?
No. I'm just trying to advise on what I see as, the difference. Moving on to the next page. Gina Roy is taken out. And I'm not sure why Gina Roy, or that position, was ever in there, because the Title IX coordinator is Lisa Curtin. So
Right.
just left Lisa's name in there. And then you see the two new policies that are referenced. You get to the cross-references ACGA and ACGB. And then the source, once again, is updated from August of '22 to July of '24.
So I wonder if we want to wait to vote on this one until we've decided if we're going to accept the new policies?
If we want to do what?
So the changes to this one are dependent upon us choosing to adopt the new policies, which
Or later.
which come up later, which I certainly don't have any objections to them. I don't think we will, but if we approve the changes to this one and then we don't accept the new policies, then we won't have any like definitions for sexual harassment or anything in the policy.
Correct. Correct.
So, if you guys think that's okay, we'll just circle back to this one at the end of the lineup.
Will we also want to change Aaron's name to Doug's?
Oh, yes. Good catch.
Do we have to have names in here?
I
Can we
think,
have a position name instead, so we don't have to change the policy?
I believe the regulation says you need to name individuals. I mean, not the policy, but the regulation says you need to name individuals. Okay. So moving on to ACA, non-discrimination on the basis of sex. This is the first time we have orange in a policy as well as yellow in a policy.
I was impressed with all the orange.
Yes. That's because the yellow language is the language recommended by MASC. The orange language is the language recommended by Attorney Minot. So there's a choice to be made here.
Our turn.
Correct.
And did they give a reason for why they were uncomfortable with the MASC language? I think that might be helpful in us deciding which we want to go with.
Um, I don't remember the specific objections that she had to this language. I do know that she shared with me that a number of school district legal counsels are recommending that the MASC policy not be adopted because their view of the regulations is slightly different. They do, I mean, this notice of non-discrimination related Title IX information is not the objectionable part. That is part of the language that she has as well. That comes directly from the regulation that says everyone needs to publish this stuff that's in the box. So I would say that it must be the content that precedes it that she disagrees with.
Well, I mean, I'm not an attorney, but my instincts would be to go with our own attorney's recommendations. I don't know, what do you guys think?
So what would the policy look like if we adopted
It would be,
our attorney's recommendation?
it would be just the language in orange.
Just in orange, okay.
Mhm.
So no box?
No box, but her language includes the same stuff that's in the
Mhm.
box.
So it would be in the policy, but not posted.
Well, it would still be published in employee handbooks and on the district website. And I'll point out that this one also is dependent upon a grievance procedure, which she gives us later on. So if you follow the same logic as before, you may want to make sure you accept the grievance procedure before you accept the policy that references the grievance procedure.
That one's all the way, that's like the last one, if I remember, right?
So, yeah.
It's the very last one. Well, I don't want to turf everything. So perhaps we can discuss this one along with the grievance procedure. I don't know, as I read these, I just felt like there was a lot of redundancy in them, which I guess is inevitable because they're extremely long.
Yeah.
So how could you write it this long if you didn't repeat stuff all the time? I get to ask a global question for us to understand. If we accept everything here with our attorney's recommendations from the MASC, how will it change, or will it change what we're currently doing in the district?
When you
In
say
regards,
with our attorney's language from the MASC, do you mean our attorneys or the
our
MASC
attorneys, yes.
It won't change things significantly because we've been operating as though this was the policy because it is the current federal law.
Okay. So we've,
Yeah.
So by, if we choose to accept all of this stuff and the school committee agrees to vote it all in, we're not going to be making a dramatic change to how the school district deals with both sexual discrimination and sexual harassment.
Correct.
Which are-
And the change
In
came.
some of these were felt to be the same, and other places were talked about as different.
Right. I would say the change came in August when the regulations became effective. We did train all the administrators on the new regulations and have been following those for any issues that come up. So it's really just catching up to the law.
So if,
So are we in the process of approving the procedure and the one that preceded it?
So I would like to think that we're discussing in parallel this policy, the changes to the policy ACA and the, what was it called, the big long orange one at the end.
The grievance.
procedure.
The grievance, yes,
Procedure.
the grievance policy. Which, and we don't currently have a grievance policy.
We don't have a written procedure. That was, I think, one of the main changes to the regulations.
And how different is this written procedure from what we would do if something like this happened today?
Well, this is what we would do if it happened today, because it's after August. I think that the main difference between this and what we've done before August is some of the notice requirements are different. You know, in the old version of Title IX, there was a very elaborate procedure for notifying both the accused and the person making the accusations of the different mechanisms under Title IX. There was also a requirement that the person who investigated the claims could not be the person who made the decisions about what should be done about the claims. So that, the first part about notice has been streamlined. The second part about that dual role has been done away with, so you can have one person be investigator and decision maker. So we've been sort of operating under the, if you can believe it, more streamlined process that this outlines than what we had before.
I mean, I'm comfortable with the notice of non-discrimination language from the attorney.
I agree with that 100%, Michelle, yeah. I mean, once again, that, you know, our attorney went through all of this and, you know, was giving us a recommendation, and I think it would be foolish to ignore that. But,
So would you like a motion to accept our attorney's recommendations on these two items?
If you guys don't have any further discussion, I think I would be looking for a motion, to accept the new policy, ACGB, as edited by our attorney, maybe first.
So move.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion on the motion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. All right, so ACG with our attorney's modifications accepted unanimously.
And ACA.
Well, we didn't have the motion for ACA, so,
I thought you said both, sorry.
how about a motion for ACA?
So move.
I'll second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. All right, so ACA approved and the grievance policy approved? All right.
And I think that means you don't have to do the other version of ACGB that's in the packet, which is the MASC version. So that, I believe, brings us to ACAR. Yes, no, we did that. No,
We did it.
ACAR.
It's contingent upon the,
This is the definition that was referenced in that other policy.
This, yes. Yeah, I'm trying to find the beginning of that one. Not the ACGA, no, we have.
AC-R.
It's right after the first batch of orange in your packet.
Yeah. The colors didn't transfer over to the iPad for whatever reason. All right, that's ACA. Man, you killed something here. Killed the tree to get this printed. Why am I not seeing that? It's right at the end of the first batch of orange?
So it's
The
after
next
and
page.
after.
Back of the next page.
Notice of discrimination.
So this is on the back side of the page that we're going to. So you'll just have a few, just 3 lines, and then the next page is the one below.
I should Fairness, it was already breaking, falling out.
It was a thick packet, you're right, Mike.
Huh?
It was a thick packet, so the stapler was having a tough job.
So I have a short bit of, ACGB?
Yeah.
Huh?
ACAR.
ACAR.
ACGA.
Use this if you want.
Wait a second, here's this. ACAR, okay, all right. Oh, wait, this is all new policy for
Right.
us.
Right, so everything is yellow. And so you see that basically one paragraph definition of non-discrimination on the basis of sex, including sex-based harassment, is now like 6 pages.
And when I read through this, I mean, everything seemed reasonable. References the grievance procedure.
Just out of curiosity, how is the Title IX coordinator selected?
I don't know.
Oh,
Lisa was Title IX ever since I started.
okay.
I'm
Yeah,
sure
I
she'd
wonder
be
what's-
happy to rotate that to someone else.
Was it ever, like, so was it Gina before Lisa?
I don't know.
Because they were in transition, Michelle, for?
I remember
for
like the
director?
first year, like, I don't know that Lisa knew it was her, actually.
Oh, right.
During the transition, I think she was surprised.
She's like,
She was like, oh. So I don't know, I didn't know if there was like
yeah,
a,
you're right, like. if it was
yeah, if someone was nominated or if they were,
6 years.
yeah, if they volunteered, or if one of a certain, position.
As you can imagine from the complexity of these policies, which are simplified versions of more complex regulations, even a single complaint can take up a lot of time.
I'm sure.
And Lisa has the time for that?
No, but Lisa works extremely hard.
Okay. So,
2 other changes that are occurring to me that, just as I'm reading through this again, is in the new regulations, Title IX complaints can be made outside of the US. In the old regulations, the activity had to occur in US soil. So if it was an international trip or whatever, it automatically is not covered. So this makes it covered.
and we have a couple of international trips coming up, right?
The other thing is that it creates a affirmative duty for the district to notify pregnant employees of their rights under Title IX, which is also a new thing.
So, I'm in favor of adopting this. And perhaps that's because I lack the expertise to rewrite it or be able to object to it. So, especially given that we're already following this and it's federal law and state law now. And it's kind of one of those things that I think we just need to accept. What do you guys think?
Move to accept.
I will second with a question, or, I'm wondering that I'm noticing in policy, sometimes it says Hamden Wilbraham School District, and then in other places it will say Hamden Wilbraham Regional School District. So I just wondered if it needs to be consistent throughout all of the policies.
It should be.
Okay.
Where do you,
So for instance, in ACAR, under number 1, the Hamden Wilbraham School District,
It needs to say regional there.
right?
They'll pick up.
And then, and other, like ACAB under sexual harassment, it does say regional school district, but I can point out other places where it does, where it just says Hamden Wilbraham School.
we can try a hunt and search.
Oh, perfect.
activity on
Like,
that,
yeah, like on the
with
word
about
doc.
Finding a place, or whatever it's
Yeah.
called.
Perfect.
As we're Hamden Wilbraham School, not regional.
It should be regional. It, well, I could, yeah, it should be, because that's the name, but it needs to be consistent with every policy.
So a motion to accept with those editorial changes.
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, then that brings us to ACAB, sexual harassment. You can see that there's a very significant rewrite. So some of the things that are notable about the revision.
Let's see.
There's some language to make it clear that behaviors that are not sexual harassment may still be violations of other school policies, and so that's clarified in here. Sexual violence is added to the list of examples of sexual harassment. The notice and due process sections are streamlined by reference to the civil rights grievance procedure and Title IX grievance procedures, which are in the proposed policies. And there also is, in addition of Title VII, references to Section 7 of the Civil Rights Act, which was new for me, and new for the policy.
Do you have an inkling as to why they're now referencing the Civil Rights Act?
Well, Title IX is part of the Civil Rights Act, so
Okay,
they're just referencing another part of the Civil Rights Act.
So overall, it is shortened a bit, right? What they deleted.
Possibly.
And is the non-highlighted language that's not crossed out, that is also, are we not adopting that, or is that new language?
The non-highlighted is language that exists and is recommended to continue to exist.
Okay.
Changing them all right now.
I'm trying.
What's she doing?
She's adding
Changing the
regionals.
regional to the.
Oh, you're
school.
changing them already?
Changing it.
Oh.
But you said there's two in the same.
I guess on the last page of this policy, looking at the district left in somewhere. There's a bunch of cross-outs, but Hamden Wilbraham Regional is not crossed out. But maybe it needs the school district there needs to be left in as well. At least on my iPad, it's page 24 out of 256. But do you see what I mean, John, at the end there?
No, I'm looking for it. I don't have the page numbers on, oh,
Is it bold?
Yes, it's bolded and
It's-
underlined.
It's crossed out on the paper.
Oh, it's crossed out in the paper, okay, so that was an error, it's supposed to be crossed out, okay.
Yeah, it's crossed out, so it doesn't matter. It's where it needs to be.
So it will be crossed out, okay. And the definitions, they were right on par with what I've, we cover at the hospital, so.
Where they're listing unwelcome sexual advances, there's a number of dots there, they added one dot.
Mhm.
Shouldn't we have something in there about cyber? I mean, it doesn't specifically say that, but
I can just say that in the implementation of this policy, our position has been that the unwelcome sexual advances, the sexual jokes or epithets, the sexually subjective objects, pictures, especially pictures, are often done electronically. So this policy, we think, covers cyber. If you want a specific reference to that, we could certainly add that somewhere in here. Let's see. That would be the best place for that.
Would that fall under just the first bullet of unwelcome sexual advances, whether they involve physical touching or not?
It would, but it also would come up with jokes, and it would also come up with objects and images. I'm thinking the phrase "by any means" or something like that might cover cyber, but I'm trying to figure out where to put that in.
Probably is some part put in that sentence just before the bullet lists, right?
Mm-hmm.
You could put it right before the list.
And it's kind of already there, right? Because while it's not possible to list all those additional circumstances that might constitute,
Mhm.
the following are examples. Maybe an additional warning sentence there that, HWRSD would, consider these regardless of the form they take. For example, written, verbal, electronic communications.
Mhm.
We don't have any telekinetics, so we don't have to. I'd list that. But like use the word "for example" before that so that it's still completely open in case there's some new form of communication.
Does that work for you, Tim?
yeah, that happens so often, I just wanted to be a little more specific about that.
And I wondered on the second to last page, so, of crossouts, it previously listed the schools and they're all crossed out, and it stated that you could file a complaint with the district's Title IX coordinator, and I guess and additionally to the principal, is that no longer allowed? It should just go to the Title IX and then also to the MCAD and the OCR?
If it's presented to the principal, they'll bring it to the Title IX coordinator.
Okay.
And I think, doesn't the other new policy we accepted have a part in it where it talks about who things get reported to?
It does.
Yeah. Um, This is a tough one because we've got not a lot of numbers, but a lot of pages. 78 pages or something. So, you want to read that edited sentence back to us, John? So
Sure. So, I have, when it is not possible, while it is not possible to list all those additional circumstances that may constitute sexual harassment, the following examples of conduct which, if unwelcome, regardless of the form they take, for example, verbal, electronic, etc., may constitute sexual harassment depending on the totality of circumstances, including the severity of the conduct and its pervasiveness.
okay. All right, what do you guys think?
Move to accept that change.
Second. I have one more quick question.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I was about to
So-
say, any further
Yes.
discussion?
So, on the very last page, so the summary, the section that's crossed out about it being shared or sent to guardians, students, etc., is that just because it will be posted on the website and updated in the policy manual, or why is that no longer?
I believe that may be one of the changes to the Title IX
Okay.
procedures.
Okay. Thank you. All set.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, unanimously passed.
Okay. So then that brings us to ACGA, Civil Rights Grievance Procedure. This is a new one as well. And this is reminding me of the rationale for some of this. So if you notice, it's very similar to the Title IX Sexual Discrimination Grievance Procedure. The reason that this whole Title IX Sexual Discrimination Grievance Procedure is recommended by MASC is because there was a case where OCR in its that's the Office of Civil Rights, in its findings outlined what a district should do when it receives a Title IX complaint. And people were grateful for that because for a long time, the Office for Civil Rights has been critical of the procedures districts have used without telling them what they were supposed to do. So that's why this ACGB was written, and then ACGA comes in modeling similar language because that says, well, if OCR thinks that this procedure is good for Title IX, it's probably good for other civil rights complaints as well. So basically, ACGA models the language of ACGB with the exception of saying this is not applicable to Title IX. Title IX has certain additional steps you need to take, but other civil rights complaints would be resolved dealing with this procedure.
And this is another one that our attorney recommended, no, that's, sorry, different one. And these time periods, we're already following that? 20 days, 25 days for it to be written up, 10 days to respond.
Can you point out?
For me, it's page 29 out of 56. So if the page H, timeframes, district will seek complete any investigative work within 20 days. A written notice of that being done within 25 days.
The next sentence is the important one, I just wanted to make sure it was in there. Basically, it says these are our aspirational goals, but depending on the number of witnesses, where the investigation goes, the district reserves the right to extend the timelines.
And the investigator is Lisa?
Not always. Sometimes she might delegate the investigation to somebody else, particularly if this is something that happened, let's say, in school. The principal might be designated as the investigator because they have already knowledge of the students and the families and the staff and are able to make credibility assessments better potentially than someone coming in for the first time.
Okay. So if it takes 27 days for the report to actually be created, nobody can complain about it, because there's a disclaimer there.
Right. Unless it was unreasonable. I mean, if this was a very discrete issue that could have been wrapped up in a day and it takes 27 days, someone could point to that and ask where was the reasonableness. But
All these new policies, so, I mean, everything in it was reasonable. What do you guys think?
I have no questions or concerns.
What do you think, Tim?
I guess.
It's hard, right? You know,
It's nice to see 3 more opportunities to vet this and discuss it, because we have 3 readings before the school committee votes, so
Okay.
if you come up with anything between now and the
yes.
adoption of the policy by the committee, you'll have 3 opportunities to bring it up.
I will have to read it at the school committee meeting 3 times, well, the title, not the whole thing. Otherwise,
You are welcome to.
otherwise,
if you'd like.
Michelle's goal of keeping the meeting in 2
Correct.
hours would
Yes.
be totally impossible.
You can have a private,
I'm
Michael
not
do
that
it.
fast to read, even getting through the titles takes a bit.
Yeah, you get your
Yeah.
So,
Can I just ask one question? Does it make sense to have the non-discrimination statement from ACGA to reflect the non-discrimination categories from AC? Like, it feels like some are missing.
in which one, ACG?
In the, sorry, in ACGA, the one we're currently on, there's some that are listed under AC, which is our non-discrimination, including harassment and retaliation, that aren't listed.
Right, the list should be the same. So what are we missing?
Oh boy. Well, let me just do it this way. We have color, sex, sexual orientation,
Wait, can you go slower?
oh yes, race, color,
But, are we on ACGB?
we're on ACGA, right?
ACGA.
Okay, that's what I'm on.
And how far into ACGA is the list? You talked
The
about that
first
first paragraph?
Yeah.
All right, and
Okay.
then you're
Got it.
referencing back to the first paragraph of ACAR.
Yes,
Race, color,
yes,
sex,
yes,
sexual orientation,
yes,
sex stereotypes,
no,
Like ACGA, not AC.
Yes.
okay,
sex characteristics,
no,
gender identity,
yep,
religion,
yep,
disability,
yep,
age,
yep,
genetic information,
no,
Where are I, Josh?
because it comes up in the TFM.
What's the TFM?
Our tiered focus monitoring from DESI when they look at our special education and civil rights policies. Active military and veteran status,
nope,
marital status, familial status. Sorry, there's a lot. Pregnancy or pregnancy-related condition. Homelessness. Ancestry,
yep,
ethnic background. National origin
mm-hmm,
and political affiliation or lack thereof.
It's just.
Cruise ship coming in?
Pretty
Cruise ship.
like official, very approval.
thank you, Josh.
And then can I ask one more question? So Gina was the civil rights coordinator name that we took out,
Mm-hmm.
but is Lisa going to be the civil rights person on top of?
I think you're the civil rights person.
Okay, then I think we need to add that position,
You mean to
either ACGA, just so
Yeah.
that if somebody has a complaint that they know who to
mm-hmm.
reach out to.
Can add you in there.
Great, thank you.
This is how people-
Congratulations.
This is how people get the roles.
Yes, there we go.
I was gonna say, this would not be happy if we said, oh, and by the way, you're the civil rights. Let's just tell her anyways.
Most people don't want their name on a target.
So that one was already voted on. Now, the next one you don't need to vote on, that was ACGB, the MASC version, but you already did ACGB, the Attorney Minot version. So then the question is, do we still have the one hanging over from the beginning of the meeting where we said we have to get to the end?
AC.
We do, but don't we have to vote on ACGA, right?
Oh, I thought you did.
No, we did,
No, we were getting close
yeah,
Okay.
we're right there.
before the questions. So, all right, I guess I'm looking for a motion to accept the new policy ACGA with Josh's recommended edits.
So move.
Second. Just for consistency.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so now we go back in time.
Let's see. Oh, because we did ACGB already, right?
Back in time. All right, which one do we have to go back to that we skip already? ACA?
The first one, right?
I think ACAR too, because that references,
ACR?
that references the sex-based harassment policy just approved. I think ACA or ACU already approved. That had minor changes,
So it's ACR.
yes.
Or just ACR? Oh, I'm looking at it right here, okay. So this is, the big change to this is addition to the list of, the definitions, right, for groups.
And it took out its own definition and said, go to policy ACAB if you want to know what sex-based harassment is.
Do we add Josh's name here as well, where all the other names are listed?
I think this one is inclusive of that. I was looking through it. It's in definitions.
Okay.
The only one not listed, which is one that was added to some other district policies, is political affiliation or lack thereof. Want to add that one?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, political affiliations on this. Tim, if you notice, they do bring up the electronic conduct in this one. Under the bullet points, that they've included it here in this one, which is nice. Harassment may include, but not limited to, any unwelcome, inappropriate, or illegal physical, written, verbal, graphic, or electronic conduct. And that has the intent or effect of creating a hostile educational environment. I think kind of, with them being linked, right? So we approved the other one, so we probably should approve the changes to this one.
I make a motion to approve policy ACR with the changes as noted.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, passes unanimously. Is that the whole list?
That's the whole list.
75 pages of policy.
In 1 hour.
In 1 hour, okay.
My favorite.
So we should probably talk about when our next meeting would be before we adjourn. When do you think would be reasonable for our next meeting, John? Are we gonna be ready for Bs in January?
We don't have any Bs or anything else, so that's good. But we do have 3 items that I'm going to recommend be referred to the policy subcommittee that are not from the policy manual. One is the equity statement, another is the AI statement we went to that training on, and third is the memo that we received from DESI now saying since MCAS no longer counts, we have to figure out what seniors need to do in order to graduate quickly.
That's our.
We already have
We
that.
already have that in
Certain-
our school.
Certain amount of credits to graduate,
We
spelled
do,
out?
we do have that. And I think that's what we're gonna do, but we also need to
Okay.
make a policy statement around that, because right now it says you fulfill our local requirements and you pass MCAS in order to get a diploma.
Okay, all right, so I guess,
Just drop everything after and.
Do what?
Just drop everything after and.
Oh, right.
oh, that one's Martin Luther King Day. No way there. Is January 6th too soon, if we're gonna do another Monday? And
Yes.
post-call, so that's, huh?
Yes, we have a, I mean, we have a negotiations meeting, so, on the, we're meeting, aren't we meeting the 6th too? Oh, no, we're meeting the, for that week, no, we're meeting the 2nd.
Have it on the
Second, okay,
of the second.
yeah.
Oh,
The
right,
sixth-
you're
the sixth
meeting
works
just
for
the
me.
smaller, right,
Yeah.
on the second.
I'm post-call on the 6th, so that's a great day for me.
Okay.
What do you think, Tim?
The 6th?
The 6th?
Monday
Time?
the sixth,
All right.
time, Mike,
Uh,
what time?
What do you guys, you wanna do, maybe you wanna do 5:30, 4:30? Seems to be a, not a bit of a reach for me.
Does 5 work better?
Sure.
Does
I'm
5
cool
work
with that. Yeah, yeah.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, cool.
All right, thanks. I'll work on getting these changes ready for the packet.